You know, Rick Santorum told me a story of one of his daughters. They were campaigning in Iowa, and a bunch of Ron Paul supporters surrounded the daughters with their Ron Paul shirts and were cursing them. And here I was last night. I was in a good mood. I was going to show some Jewish compassion to my Jew-hating friends, and they blew it today. Just blew it. And so I'm sitting here thinking during the break, have you noticed a lot of the Ron Paul supporters have a lot in common with the Obama supporters? Oh, yeah. Like the public sector union bosses? They're thugs, a lot of them. And so many of them are illiterate. I know this because I read their comments on the various websites and so forth. Like the word believe. Is it I before E or E before I? They can't seem to get that one straight. Even in the world of Google. They're so busy rushing in the website. They're like Beavis and Butthead. Let's get him. Let's get rid of 1 star. All right, calm down, boys. Calm down. Hey, let's go over there. Let's get to Jeffrey Lord. Excuse me? And then have you also noticed that the debates, they kind of clap at the wrong time? Can't you at least clap at the right time? And by the way, you clap with both hands together. They kind of meet in the middle. Just thought I'd let you know. I don't like bullies. I've never liked bullies. If the man's going to win on his ideas, let him win on his ideas. He runs the most... You know what? The big secret is it's not Romney who ran the worst ads. It's not Newt Gingrich who ran the worst ads. It is Ron Paul trashing every single conservative in the race, claiming they're not conservative, but only he is. Because we conservatives have a very, very long tradition of unilateral disarmament. That's right. Unless the enemy's right on the shore, carrying atomic weapons on their backs, how do we know they're going to threaten us? Can't we just negotiate with them? Sounds a little like Neville Chamberlain to me. Can't we just negotiate with the terrorists, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban? I mean, after all, doesn't he sound a little bit like that? Yeah, whiny. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, oh, shut up. So, as you know, I'm in the great Commonwealth of Virginia, and it turns out that I have one of 2 choices, really one of 3, because we've been disenfranchised in Virginia. I cannot vote. I can vote for Mitt Romney or vote for Ron Paul in Virginia. That's it in Virginia. So I'm going to vote for Mitt Romney in Virginia. But if I could vote, in other words, let's see, I'm older than 21. I mean, I meet the standards. I'm a citizen. Or is it older than 18 now? I even have a picture ID, which I'm more than happy to show everybody. But in Virginia, we get 3 choices. Don't vote, or vote for Mr. Establishment, or vote for a crackpot. So I have to vote for Romney in Virginia, even though I support or would rather vote for Santorum. And I'd rather vote for Newt over Romney. And I'd rather write in Mickey Mouse than Ron Paul. But here we are in America. It's a great place. And all the commenters, by the way, in Virginia. Well, serves the candidates right. If they can't get on the ballot, excuse me, I don't care about them. I don't get to vote the way I want to vote for the candidate that I want to vote for. Well, serves the candidates right. I even have a picture ID, which I'm happy to show everybody. So I could take the easy road. I could play clips of Newt, who kicked ass yesterday, and clips of Santorum, who did exactly the same thing, and clips of Romney, who was kind of confused. He looked a little confused yesterday. And by the way, Rick Perry did a very good job, too. And here is Ron Paul on the side there. And he got his butt kicked, too. Because let me explain something. Americans do not want to unilaterally disarm. Americans do not hate their own military. Americans do not believe that Americans are running around the world willy-nilly bombing people. We could if we wanted to, but we don't, because we're a good people. Americans believe it's too late when 9/11 happens, and we need to protect ourselves from a 9/11. And the idea that Ron Paul is the intellectual cutting edge of the conservative movement of the Republican Party is a joke. Just read the comments. Just read his newsletters. Just listen to him. And we did listen to him. We listened to him last night when Brett Baer asked him. Now, let me ask you, don't you figure 95% of red-blooded Americans would say, if we have a chance or had a chance to kill Osama bin Laden, we should kill him? Yes. Is this a controversial point? No. Let's get Cut 8 ready first. But Ron Paul was asked this by Simon Conway, WHOA Radio, May 2011, Hat Tip the Blaze. Let's listen to this very brief exchange, shall we? Cut 8, go.
I think you've been very clear, sir. You've been very clear. I definitely do not want to put words in your mouth, but you're telling me a President Ron Paul would not have ordered the bin Laden kill to take place as it took place in Pakistan.
Not the way it took place, no.
Okay.
I mean, he was unarmed and, all these other arguments.
Yeah, the other arguments. There we go. He's unarmed. So we should have armed him first, I guess, right? Arm him first. We got to play fair here. I mean, this is insanity. And yet, last night he was asked about it, and he denied he ever said it. Cut 7, go.
In a recent interview, Congressman Paul, with the Des Moines radio station, you said you were against the operation that killed Osama bin Laden. You said the U.S. operation that took out the terrorist responsible for killing 3,000 people on American soil, quote, showed no respect for the rule of law, international law. So to be clear, you believe international law should have constrained us from tracking down and killing them.
So there's the question. And when we come back, we're going to hear what Ron Paul said last night. Oh, I forgot to tell the a-holes out there, and you know who you are. You know, you folks that can't write, go in the comments section for your hero, Ron Paul. And I thought I should tell you, one of the ways you go higher and higher on the Amazon list, meaning closer to number one, is not only books purchased on Amazon, it's how many people click onto the book on Amazon. They have some formula. Nobody knows what it is. So it's activity on the site. So I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your support. Every time you go there and click on, I'm beating RuPaul and his books. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Amazon's not the only place that sells books. It's a wonderful place, but there are other book places to get a Meritopia. One of the things Amazon needs to figure out to do better in its business model is to deal with these campaigns that go into these sites and let's put my book aside and just have as their purpose to distort, actual reviews. There are ways to do that. There are a lot of direct online systems for people who sell products and services and ask you to rate them so that these kind of campaigns which distort these reviews of products and services, in this case books, can be dealt with. But Amazon chooses not to do it. So maybe what I ought to do is stop promoting Amazon and start promoting Costco and Barnes & Noble and Walmart and Sam's and Books A Million and all the other bookstores out there who treat us with respect and who have a system in place. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. We'll see how it goes. But enough about me. I want to talk more about Ron Paul. I'm almost done. Don't worry. And by the way, he's not getting the Republican nomination, and he's not going to be president. I'm sorry to let you down. So the warmongering, America bombing is going to continue. Oh, yes. And outlawing cocaine and crack, LSD, that's going to continue. I'm sorry. So Ron Paul tells WHO Simon Conway, Hat Tip the Blaze, in response to a question of whether or not he would have taken out Osama bin Laden, killed him. The way he was, he says, not the way it took place. No, I mean he was unarmed, and all these other arguments. By the way, was Tojo armed? I'm just curious. Tojo, you remember Imperial Japan, World War II? Did he actually have arms on him, or did he rule over an army? How stupid a question is that, isn't it? Well, how stupid a question it is because I'm drawing a parallel with a stupid comment. Well, he wasn't armed, was he? No, but he can give orders to kill people, big dummy, which is exactly what he did. I wonder how popular Ron Paul would be in New York City. Seriously. I wonder how popular he would be at the Pentagon. How popular he would be in Washington, D.C. Bunch of independent. I heard that 47% of the voters in New Hampshire were Republican in the Republican primary. Is that not screwed up or what? So Ron Paul says, I wouldn't do it. In other words, I wouldn't have killed him. He's unarmed, for crying out. He was unarmed. And then Bret Baier asks him this.
So to be clear, you believe international law should have constrained us from tracking down and killing the man responsible for the most brazen attack on the U.S. since Pearl Harbor?
Obviously no, and that's what I did not say that.
Stop! Oh, yes you did. Did you not hear your statement like you didn't read your newsletters? Oh, yes you did. We caught you. We caught you red-handed, and I mean red. Red-handed. You lied. That's a big one. Continue, Mr. Producer.
Matter of fact, after 9/11, I voted for the authority to go after him. And
whoa. Oh. Ooh. Being the constitutional scholar that I am, and the constitutional scholar that Mr. Baby Delivery Man is, did he just say he voted for authority to go after him? An act of war? Did he just say? As a matter of fact, hasn't he said in the past that he voted in favor of going to war with Afghanistan? Hasn't he said that? I know he said that. That's a very interesting point, Mark. The baby doctor turned constitutional scholar. Was there a declaration of war against Afghanistan, Mr. Producer? No. Mr. Call Screener? No. And yet, Ron Paul voted for war against Afghanistan without demanding a declaration. This is going to upset all the a-holes out there. So he voted to go to war. In other words, he voted to fund our military to attack a sovereign nation, to bomb innocent people, to destroy all those poppy fields with all the opium that could have been sold in the United States. And he did all of that. He provoked this enemy. He provoked the Taliban. He provoked Al-Qaeda. And we didn't even have a declaration of war in Afghanistan. Oh, my goodness. What are all you Paul Bots going to do about that one? Gotcha. You're in a box now. What are you going to do? And then he lies. Oh, my gracious goodness. Let's do this one more time. It's just too juicy. Let us go back to Cut 8, where he's asked specifically if he would have ordered the killing of bin Laden. And I could have sworn I heard him say no, he was unarmed. Cut 8, go.
I think you've been very clear, sir. You've been very clear. I definitely do not want to put words in your mouth, but you're telling me a President Ron Paul would not have ordered the bin Laden kill to take place as it took place in Pakistan.
Not the way it took place, no.
Okay.
I mean, he was unarmed.
There you go. He was no, not the way it took place. Well, how should it take place? Should we drop a bomb on his head? We could have. He's unarmed. Can't do that. So we have to wait for him to be armed? What if he's never armed, but he orders armed people to attack us? Yeah, that's different. So we've established here two things. Number one, Ron Paul lied. Yes, he did. Number two, Ron Paul voted for an unconstitutional war act against the sovereign nation of Afghanistan. I'm just following his logic, because there was no official declaration of war against Afghanistan. Now I got to throw away all my Ron Paul books. I'm so confused. I don't understand anymore. Do you, ladies and gentlemen? There's nothing to understand. That's why the word crackpot was invented. And it mixes two drugs that would be legalized. Crack and pot. Crackpot.